All right, so joining us in studio to talk about the Senate race is Republican John Deaton. Thanks for coming back on that issue. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
All right, so you were here during primary season several months ago. Since that time, have you found that voters have a better sense of who you are and asking more about your policies rather than your background and biography?
Yeah, and I think the fact that in the primary I got 65% of the vote despite 3 people on the ballot, it was resonating with them. Once they learned who I am, my policies as a centrist, common sense person, I think, and nonpartisan at that, I think they're ready for that. I think they're ready for that kind of leadership.
We had Senator Warren on a few weeks ago. We asked her about your candidacy. This is what she had to say.
3 crypto billionaires recruited him out of Rhode Island to move to Massachusetts, and then they put $2.5 million into a super PAC to run ads so that he could get the nomination. The 2 Massachusetts Republicans who ran against him didn't have that kind of money. So he ends up winning the nomination, and now the crypto billionaires are hoping that they will be able to buy this seat.
So leading figures in the crypto industry have contributed to your campaign. Every time I post something about you or retweet something about you, I get overwhelmed on my X account by crypto pitches. I've actually had to mute them, which, if you know me, I rarely ever do. Is that a fair criticism?
Well, listen, she's talking about a super PAC that is more about her than it is me, because she's trying to ban an entire industry. Her bill bans the self-custody of Bitcoin in America, but they just granted permission to the big banks to custody crypto. And so the industry is more about her. She's earned their motivation. I can't help what happens to a super PAC. My personal campaign is not. I have small-time investors. The people that I think are inundating you, I sued the government, and I did it pro bono, and I won Lawyer of the Year, Consumer Advocate of the Year, and won the Defender of Freedom Award because I took on the SEC that was hurting small-time holders of crypto. And I won. A lifelong Democratic judge appointed by President Barack Obama said, I agree with John Deaton, cited my legal work, which was all done for free. It took me 3 years of pro bono work. And so I became a little bit of a folk hero to the crypto holders because I did all that for free. But the real question is, why is Senator Warren, when she announced her reelection, during the first debate, John Keller brought up the fact that when she announced her reelection, she announced that she was going to build an anti-crypto army. Why? We have the immigration issue, we have debt issue, we have opioid addictions, we have foreign wars, and the world's fallen in chaos, and inflation so bad here in Massachusetts. Why would our senior senator focus on crypto?
But to just play devil's advocate for a second, lots of people get concerned that in emerging new businesses, if we look back on Facebook and we look back at what's happening with Instagram and we look at what's happening, they say that people in Congress don't react quickly enough. We know that they're working on wars. We know that they're working on all these things. Who else is looking out for crypto either way, like in a good way or a bad way? If Elizabeth Warren isn't doing it, who would be doing it?
I've been doing it. I did it.
Well, you're not elected yet. I'm saying for to criticize her for taking it. You could disagree with what she's doing, but taking it on as an issue, shouldn't they be doing that?
Well, yes. And what I was meant to say to you is that if you look at what I've done, I've been calling for regulation. I'm not anti-regulation. We're applying 1930s law to artificial intelligence and blockchain technology. Senator Warren's approach, though, is to ban it. You don't ban it. There's been less than 1% of crypto's been used for illicit purposes. Hamas actually issued a directive, don't use crypto because it's so traceable. ATM machines have been used in a bad way for drug deals. You don't ban the technology. And so her approach is just too extreme. But I believe in smart, tailored regulations. If the Congress would have done its job and given some guidance on this new technology, the FTX thing would have never happened because people were going overseas to these offshore exchanges. But I believe in stablecoin legislation. I believe in making sure that we have audits of these exchanges. And I believe that customer funds should always be segregated from the centralized entities funds. So I just want the viewers and everyone to know, I do support regulating this industry. It's the one thing that's held it back.
So if you were to look at Sue's X feed, you would forgive her for thinking that some of these folks are single-issue voters and it's just the crypto issue. Yeah. How do you translate your stance on crypto and your role in this sort of emerging field to other issues like immigration, right, like security and climate change and things like that? How do you talk to those voters who love you for the crypto stuff but may not know what your other policies are?
Well, you know, that's been the challenge because, unfortunately, crypto has taken way too much of time and energy. Because if you were to ask everyday people here in the Commonwealth to name the top 10 issues, I assure you crypto's not one of them. And so I agree with that. You know, the problem is we live in such a divisive world. My biggest challenge is that I'm a Republican in Massachusetts who doesn't support Donald Trump. And so I've offended some Republicans with my stance, and it's getting the voters that are Democrats and the moderates to see who I am. It's just a name issue. You know, we did some polling that showed that if they don't know anything about me, I lose by 20, 25 points. Let's just be honest. When they learn that I'm pro-choice and I'm a veteran, it's a single-digit race. And then when they really get to know me, I'm having lifelong Democrats say, you know what? This guy's safe. This guy's a good guy. He's in it for the right reasons. I can trust him, unlike what Senator Warren's saying.
All right, so I've been watching a lot of Kamala Harris, talking with a lot of Republicans. The Cheneys are behind her. A lot of guys with phones that they wear on their clip to their belts are with her. There's a lot of Pryor, Romney, Bush, all sorts of Republicans are voting for her. Are you going to vote for Kamala Harris?
No.
Who are you going to vote for?
I'm going to write in a name. I'll tell you why. And it's interesting, Vice President Harris, if you look at her policies, they're more in line with me than Senator Warren's, including on crypto. She wants to do a reset on crypto, for example. But I voted for Joe Biden last time. And it's because he promised that he would go from the center. He even bragged that he had worked with white segregationists. He could work with anyone. He would unite this country. And that didn't happen. And I see Vice President Harris right now doing the same playbook, going to the center, promising it. And so, you know, I was fooled the first time. And what I'm saying is, to me, it doesn't matter. I know it matters to most people. Right? To me, I'm going to have one test. Is it good for Massachusetts and America? Sue, if it's good for Massachusetts and America, they could call it liberal. Corey, they could call it conservative. I don't care. I'll vote for it. If it's not, I won't. And I think that's what we got to get back to.
So square that circle for us. If your views you feel are closer to Kamala Harris, why not just pull the lever for her? Why not vote for her?
Because it's an election year, and she's doing the same playbook that Joe Biden did, which is to say we're going to just go to the center now. And I just got fooled the first time. I think that we have to answer this question in this country. And I tried to do it on the debate stage, as you know, which is, why is this election even a toss-up? Why did 74 million Americans vote for Donald Trump the first time, despite everything we know? They're not all racist xenophobes. We can't take that position. These are good people who believe the country's heading in the wrong direction. We need leaders to say why. Senator Warren was asked that question. Why is he so popular? Why is this race even close? She threw her hands up in disgust and said, I just don't get it. Well, I think it's your job to get it. You know, you can't indict half of America. You know, we got to get back to being able to say, let's say Sue and I disagree with the president. We got to be able to get back to say, I disagree with who you're voting for president, but I don't disagree with you. You know?
You get elected, what are the top 3 issues at the end of your first term that we'll say you worked on?
It'll be a term limit bill, it'll be the codification of Roe versus Wade, and it'll be trying to force government to talk about balanced budgets once again in this country. And the fourth one would be pro-innovation. We got to get regulatory clarity to artificial intelligence, automation, robotics, blockchain technology. We have to make sure we're the leader moving forward when it comes to innovation, including renewable energy.
If you win, will you be John Deaton, the Republican senator from Massachusetts, or could we see John Deaton, the independent senator from Massachusetts?
Well, you know, I upset a lot of people in the Republican Party recently because Senator Warren was out there saying if you elect John Deaton, it breathes life into a federal abortion ban. And I said that in a 50-50 Senate, I could stop that from happening because I would look at the leadership and say, you put that ban on the floor and I'll switch to a Democrat the next day and we'll flip this Senate back. And I got a lot of criticism. And, you know, Senator Warren thinks I'm pretending. And I think that says a lot, that that we live in a world where a brilliant politician like her has become so jaded that she thinks I'm on a debate stage lying that I'm going to, when I say I would never betray my daughters, that I'm going to then go to the Senate and say, no, psych, I was joking. That's just unbelievable, and it's tragically sad. And so I will have an independent voice in the Senate and actually give the Senate, Massachusetts, a real voice again, because Senator Warren's vote is taken for granted. If it's being pushed by the Democratic leadership, she's in. I'm not. And a Republican, I'm a maybe. And I'm going to ask questions like, what's this? How's it good for Massachusetts? How's it good for America? And I'll be sort of the Joe Manchin, if you will, of West Virginia. He was the most important senator because of that independent streak, and I bring that to Massachusetts.
All right. We will have to see what happens. John, thanks for coming back. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Good luck on the rest of the remaining days and weeks of the campaign. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right.